welcome back to the channel. This is the full build video of the classic Airframes Hawker Hurricane Mark I. Now, at the time of recording, September 2025, this is still the only 48 scale commercially available kit of the fabric wing Hurricane, which is, to my knowledge that is, which is a really random statistic. Hopefully that will be rectified soon. I know the Qatari 32 scale kit is due to be released at the end of this year, I think, or early 26, but there is no 48 scale kits. There's a 72 scale, Airfix does a 72 scale, and a rather nice one, but unless someone can tell me different, please let me know in the comments below. The kit is 20 years old now, 2005 I think it came out. Just looking now at ScaleMates, and yes, well, it needs a bit of work, as you can see. It's rather tired. It still kind of builds up into a Hurricane. It looks like Hurricane at the end, but classic Airframes, you've got to put some work in to get there. And this is what I'm showing you, all this, so you don't have to do it. And if you do want to do it, they are still available in various places. You can see what I'm doing here. We're just drilling out the back plate, armour plate on the... I don't even think the armour plate was on the early Hurricanes. So this is possibly, you could have actually not have had this on and just scratch build some sort of back into the seat, but we'll just overlook that for this for the time being. You might see as we go along, the kit is pretty flashy, as you'd expect, or you could imagine. Like I say, it's pushing 20 years old now. I have built a couple of classic Airframes kits, and I have still got probably too many in the stash. I kind of like them. Well, I did like them. Well, I do like them. That's not, you know, the trouble with this kit in particular, that there are better Hurricanes available, and the actual time and effort it takes to build this, you just think, really, you know, is it really worth it? Like I say, I've got a couple more different aircraft in the stash, and you just think, well, maybe it's time just to move them on. Kits are getting so much better now. We are living in a bit of a golden age, in my opinion, of kit releases at this present time. This is speeded up video, of course. I don't sound that quickly. Like golden age of kit releases at the time being, and you know, it's struggling on with a piece of soap like this. It kind of does take the fun away a little bit. Although it does give you a little sense of accomplishment when finished, or is that relief? Probably. So what we'll do, I'll just natter away when I think I need to say something, and I won't when I don't. Hopefully the images will be self-explanatory for you. That's the seat, of course. I'm just drilling out the spade grip yoke here, because the connection to the bottom of the cockpit floor there was well, there was none. So I'm just putting a bit of a brass rod in there just to help me out a little bit. The cockpit on this Hurricane, as you might be aware if you've built any Hurricanes in the past, or you might be building one at the time, is you can't see nothing. You just about see the seat. Hawker cockpits tend to be extremely tight. So really, you don't see any of this. You'll see the seat, and you'll see the back plate, the armour plate, and that's about it. which is kind of why I went with silver framing here. It could be either silver or interior green. I went with the silver just to try and brighten it up a little bit. Get a bit of a hairspray here just to get a bit of weathering on the back of the plate here, the armour plate. Don't often use the hairspray technique at all, ever really, so this is a technique I hardly ever use. It's probably a little bit too much in fairness, but you know, not too bad. This dry brush paint from Ammo is really good. You can't see me actually applying it because it's out of picture, but with a bit of UV resin and the instrument panel's pretty nice. It comes out pretty alright, really. Not too bad at all. Just a bit of weathering here. I think this is Starship Filth. I think I should have really taken a bit more notice of what oil I was using. It might be industrial grime in fairness, but you know, anything that's going to grime up the your cockpit or your silver areas. With the silver you get away with black, in my opinion. So yeah, so that's what we're doing here, and a bit on the instrument panel as well, just to just for your point of view, really. As I say, you can't really see nothing. These are aftermarket belts. I think these are Edward Hurricane belts. Why they're different to any other belt, I really don't know. They're just a Sutton belt to me. Pretty standard stuff, as you can imagine. Bit of super glue just to hold them all down, hold them all together. It's pretty invisible, especially with the canopy, because I chose to have the canopy closed. Well, I didn't choose to have the canopy closed. I had no choice. We'll get to that in due course. A bit of weathering just to dirty up the belts here. It's not a bad cockpit, in fairness, for something that's 20 years old. It's not too bad at all. It would still stand up with someone who's a bit more patient than I am. So I tried something a bit new for me, using super glue for the fuselage halves. Being a short run kit, there's no connection points, so you kind of just put it in and hope for the best, which I thought if we went with super glue, it'd be going off relatively sharpish and it'd give me a bit more of a chance. But I did tend to get it all over the place. The black super glue works well. I probably, if I'm going to do it again, I probably just need to take a bit more time. As you can see, look at the top of the fuselage there, it's all over the place. This is obviously the wings going together. There's the undercarriage, internal undercarriage resin plug thing, which is super glued in, but I just put some plastic pieces just to hold it in place. That one on the top there, when I took it off its mounting plug, as you can imagine, we did see a bit of daylight. Well, I did chop into the top of the roof of the undercarriage bay, so that's just a bit of plasticard just to hide a bit of daylight coming through. You can see the fabric wing. It's it's a nicely detailed kit. It's a little bit soft, but it is nicely detailed. especially the underneath. I mean, there's a bit more going on the underneath, under the wings there. Do we flip it over? No, we don't. Oh, yes, we do. There you go. There's a bit. You see a little bit. There is quite a bit of detail. I say it's not. I'm giving it a hard time. I think that's what it's. I think we've kind of moved on from short run kits. You know, why there's not a Ragwin 48 scale Hurricane about, I really don't know. There's definitely a market for it, but anyway, let's leave that. An unusual way to mould the rudder, excuse me, just on like a one piece and a half of the fuselage, you know, just to give you a bit of extra work that you really don't need to do. So what this here is the resin insert for the gun ports. Now the amount of work that would have taken to get that nice and smooth would have been too much. I just think no. And the ports are in the wrong position for me. They just want to be off. Yeah, there you go. Just want to be off centre of the wing, and I do do something about that. But before I do, we just put some wingtip lights in. Usual old technique. This is good. Get out really. Just chop them off as you are there. Chop the little quarter lights off, and then we find a bit of clear sprue, depending on what kind of bulb you've got, and we drill the hole out like this. You've done this before, no doubt. If you haven't done this before, it's a really good trick. It's a really good beginner's trick, and it does elevate your model. And just fill that full of paint, depending on what colour paint you want, depending on its port or starboard. Just like that, and then you glue it all in. I did use the UV resin just to make up, there you go, just to make up the gaps, and it sands down really nicely. It's the first time I've sanded resin. Took a bit of a chance, and yep, sands fine. That UV resin stuff really is handy to have. It's one of them things that you could do with having that and the torch to go with it to cure the resin. Really handy. Handy for gluing, handy for clear parts, of course. Nav lights, anything like that. And this is just an hour focus sanding exercise. Really, try not to take away the detail so much. We should have protected that with with some tape. Really, bit of a schoolboy error there. Not the best one I've ever done, but you know, you get the picture. Had to for the tailplanes, we had to use a bit of brass rod because there was attachment points, but they were so deformed and really not happening. I thought we'd better just chop all them out and make our own. For the did I do it for the rudder as well? I don't think I did it for the rudder. It's just on the tailplanes. Again, it's a nice easy trick to do if you're feeling that you shouldn't need to do it. And then we just attach with ordinary glue and a bit of super glue as well. I think the left hand one kept falling off. I had to glue it 3 or 4 times. And I think what we do as well before we go to paint, a bit of perfect plastic putty just to take away that gap a bit. So going back to the guns, the gun ports. So I don't show all this, but you probably get the gist. you get a bit of stretch sprue and then literally fill them ports with the stretch sprue like that. We do all 8 gun ports. You see, I've drawn a little bit of a pencil line, so I kind of know where to drill them back out. Unfortunately, I don't actually show it. It was all a bit stressful. There is a moment in this video where you kind of see where I just lose the will to carry on with it. But again, that's further on. So there we go. So you just cut all them back and we sand that down, and then I carefully drill out the ports again. So the cockpit, unusually we could slip it into the bottom there, so I could clean up the fuselage without getting dust into the cockpit itself. A bit of a trial and error to get that in. I was hoping it would fit, and it did. You can see, if you can see where the exhaust would be in the fuselage there. There you go, that little white plasticard. That's just a hole, and obviously the exhaust will just be floating in the breeze. So I just put a bit of plasticard on there, just to give the exhaust something to glue onto. Obviously that's right at the very end. And just using a bit of super glue here just to keep the cockpit in place. Bit of a kicker just to help me on with it. And so there you go. A bit of a moment, always is in any aircraft kit, is the wings going on. Bit of a worry, because you never really know unless you're building Tamiya, of course. You certainly never know with if you're building something like this, like a short run kit. I think it's going to be okay. You know, you dry fit all the time, and I think we're okay. There's just a little gap on the front of the on the right wing. Join underneath is pretty good, in fairness. There's actually not any gaps on this Hurricane. Some short run kits tend to be really gappy. This is pretty good. As I say, the joins underneath are pretty tight. Look, just use a bit of filler on there, and when it comes to it, what I did do when I've put this clamp on there, I ended up splitting the seam in front of the cockpit. You'll see that in a minute. There it goes up. Twang. There you go. There's that little shim of plasticard just to go in that little gap there. That really is the only gap in the kit worth mentioning. The wing root was pretty good. Pretty good. Didn't think it was going to be, because it's got that funny little step. I thought, well, we're going to have trouble here, but no, it goes together okay. Still need to fill it with a bit of Mr. Surfacer, and I'll give that a bit of a wipe down with some Mr. Colour thinner, not the leveling thinner, too expensive for that. So yeah, as you can see, it's not bad. There's that little gap there, look, what a pain. So I think we just refill that and sand it and just mess about with it, glue it, sand it, hope for the best. You see, look at the wing root, it's not too bad at all. Now can you see where my thumb is, left thumb? You can see where I've drilled out for the guns, much better position. And then we just chop off this bit of plasticard without chopping your fingers off. It's always good to do something like this on camera. You know, it's never at all stressful. and that will just fill that with a bit of oh, we used, oh, I didn't, sorry, it's a little while ago since I've done this, so plastic perfect, you say it, really good stuff for this sort of thing. Wipe it off with a cotton bud and some water, and you're good to go. You know, don't overlook it. You know, don't always have to be using lacquer fillers and one thing or another. You know, just old-fashioned acrylic polyfiller, basically. As I say, just a bit of water. And off you go. Job's a good one. Quick to move on to the next firestorm. So the glazing, this is a vac form canopy, obviously comes into the kit. You get 4, you get 2 early and 2 late canopies. I've gone with an early canopy. This is why I said I had no choice but to have the canopy closed. I did think about cutting it down with a razor file, but I thought, no, I just, you know, you just think, cut your losses, it's going to be fine, just leave as. I'm just using a bit of copper wire just to simulate the brake linings for the brake line, I should say, for the wheels. You just got to think about what work can you do, what work do you want to do, and I didn't want to be cutting vac form canopies. I wasn't sure there was much to be gained, in fairness. So swiftly glue it on with some ultra glue and carry on. There you go. There's 2. One looks good, one looks not so good, but there you go. As I say, not bad detail in this kit. Right, so we did. I seem to be getting into the thing of priming with brown. This is the mahogany, Mr. Surface, Mr. Mahogany 1000. That there is the walkways, which I've already sprayed black and masked. See, it's not bad, it's underneath, it's quite nice. But I wonder whether, there you go, it makes everything a bit too dark. These are the paints we're going to use. I keep bouncing in between using, sometimes using a grey primer and a darker primer. I think after a period of time, the paint on a darker primer does darken down a lot more. Naturally, this is speeded up footage. I think I might leave it with you for a bit, guys. I'll get back to you as soon as. So after all that work, we left with this finish here. Now the MRP colours, they are generally really nice colours, but they're a dark earth and dark green. They're probably not as accurate as what you'd want them to be. The Mr. Colour RAF colours I think are probably more accurate, although it does give quite a nice faded finish. This is the tail stripe, or the fin stripe going in. This isn't part of the kit. I've had to do that myself. That's why it's painted like that, because it's not a decal. See, it's nice, but it's just not as accurate as what it could be. Decals, right. For old decals, microscale decals, they went down really nicely. There's a caveat coming. They went down really well, sunk into any detail, nice to use, relatively thin, yada yada, all that, really good. But I think because they're getting on a little bit, there's a little issue with them. I mean, they're not yellowing, good colours. They're better than some modern decals that we won't talk about here, but you know who I mean. You know who I mean. I won't say anything else. I don't incriminate anybody. But no, they go down really well. As I say, nice colours, nice and bright, or not accurate, I should say. But there is an issue, and it's coming up relatively soonish. As I say, just using microset and sol just to get them down. Nice. And we've had to use, to get the aircraft I wanted, I've gone into my little stash of extra decals, and I've come up with, or found the codes on a couple of sheets. Putting them on by hand is it is always a little bit, it's a little bit sketchy, which is for me in my advanced years anyway. I do make as good as fists of it as I can. I won't say anything more than that. Don't look too closely in the finished video, the finished pictures, chaps. The extra decals, decals, whatever they call them, as you've probably used them yourself. Probably don't need me to tell you what they're like. They're really good. They're pretty thin. They can be a little bit touchy. They don't like being moved so much. Nice bright colours though, as you can see. But even that, there was adding a little issue towards the end. I don't know whether it was me, or whether it was the paint, or what. I don't really know. I never have much luck with decals. Dull coat. Now, I like this stuff. It doesn't give you a matte finish, but just knock it back a bit. A couple more coats, you'd probably get that even matter. Well, that's exactly what I should have done, was used a couple more coats just to protect the decals. We'll see that in a minute. When is it coming up? It doesn't come up yet. No, this comes after all this weathering. So industrial earth underneath, just a not really a sludge wash, more of a filter. We don't want it too heavy. I used to do a sludge wash years ago, and I kind of liked it, and I've gone away from it. I just found it too messy. You got to watch where you're putting your hands. You could just stick your elbow in a load of oil, and it just goes everywhere. But it does give a nice effect. But I've leaning nowadays more towards these, more like a filter, but like the armour lads use. Just to get into the detail, just the oil to get into detail, and just shift the colour a little bit, especially on the fabric areas like that. That's quite a nice finish. And then use a different oil for the metal parts of the wing. There you go, look, this is sepia. So this is sort of metal parts of the wing, just to change it. Just a bit of an experiment to see what it would look like. I was going to do it top sides, but as I say, there's a moment coming up where you just see me you can just feel the excitement draining out of me. This is just is that a black wash? I think it's just black wash. As I say, with any silver paint, you can get away with a black wash because it's okay. Whereas you couldn't get away with that, like on the sky or most any other colours. In my opinion, of course. If you have a difference of opinion, please let me know in the comments below. So here we go. Look, so I'm putting on the metal parts where I've just masked off where the fabric is. We're just putting on some chips with that AK metal colour, which is a pretty nice colour. And what I've done, I managed to rip off that roundel. Great. It's hardly stuck down, and that's under a flat coat as well, but it was a thin flat coat. What I should have done was put another couple of coats on. I did find some roundels, which I was a bit disappointed because they're completely different shape, but my guru, old Paddy, did mention it's probably more accurate. The smaller roundel would be a bit more accurate. See how easy that is to come off? Good grief. Yeah, just like that, look. So actually, in fairness, we do claw back a bit of a win here, because they do seem to be more accurate than the bigger roundel. But it honestly, guys, it just hovered over the bin. It was that close, never to see this model ever. Bit more, it's probably a little bit more accurate. So there you go. So at this point I go, let's just get the damn thing finished before something else goes wrong. So again, just a top filter, the industrial earth, I think it was. I didn't bother with the sepia on the metal parts of the wing. I could have done, but to be honest, I was kind of happy with as it was. The undercarriage went on pretty well, actually. You know, for an older kit, it's not too bad at all. It's a little bit wonky, a little bit sketchy here and there. Rudimentary tail wheel, just like that. We are actually not far off the end now, everybody. So if you did get this far, I've got to thank you, because it's a bit, it's a bit of one of them videos, this one. Not my favourite build. One of my favourite subjects, but not my favourite build in the slightest. You see the weathering I've put underneath there, look. So if you do like what you've seen, please chuck us a like, and subscribe would be awesome, and then you can click that bell thing, which would be awesomer. So there's 3 awesome things you could do if you fancied it. If you don't want to, that's absolutely awesome as well. It just helps, obviously, just to well, you know, all that nonsense. So we are coming just to the very end here. Look, that's the I'm masking the ports there. This is a gas patch I've cut from a bit of silver foil and painted yellow, of course. I was and ahhing, it's not entirely entirely accurate. There were some Battle of Britain Hurricanes that did have gas patches, especially the early ones. I thought, oh, I can't find a picture of this actual airframe with a gas patch. I thought, oh, sorry, let's get it on. Makes a bit of a difference, doesn't it? A bit of a change. The dreaded unmasking. You'll see that you can't see nothing. You can't see nothing inside that cockpit. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for hanging on this far. You've done really well. Get yourself a drink and a little sit down. I will hopefully see you in the next video in due course. Here's exhaust going on with a bit of ultra glue. As I say, I had to put a support in there, a bit of plasticard. And I forgot the rear view mirror. As you can see, that's not on the canopy either. That twinged off and disappeared. Anyway, as I say, everybody, thanks for hanging on, and I will see you in due course. Enjoy the photos coming right up.